Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about a very unique band. This is the Quicksilver Messenger Service, a psychedelic band out of the 1960s. It came out of the San Francisco scene with bands such as the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane. And so we're going to be ranking their albums today. They're a very different band. I refer to them a lot as Western psychedelic or cowboy psych or something. There was just this sort of old Western feel to this band, and they sounded a lot to me. They had a '70s sound before the '70s in a lot of their albums. It was very different, but I really enjoy this band. So let's just go ahead and get started on Quicksilver Messenger Service. Okay, the my least favorite album is Piece by Piece. A lot of bands came back, a lot of '70s prog bands and a lot of '60s psychedelic bands came back in the '80s, and they decided they were going to be part of the '80s trend. The Grateful Dead did it, and they released an album in the '80s that sounded nothing like the Grateful Dead. There were some fine tracks on that album. I really enjoyed Althea, but again, a lot of these bands came out and they're like, hey, Jefferson Airplane did it. Oh, we're going to have a reunion. It sounded nothing like the Jefferson Airplane. So Quicksilver Messenger Service released this album. This is not the Quicksilver Messenger Service that you will hear on the previous albums in the 60s and 70s at all. To me, there's no standouts on this album. It's really not worth talking about. Tinny electronic music combined with a bit of rock. That's about it. Last, I never listened to it. Don't care for it at all, piece by piece. Moving on. So the final album that Quicksilver Messenger Service released in 1975 before they split was called Solid Silver. Again, no real true standouts. I mean, it's not a bad album. It's pretty rockin' upbeat album. Pretty energetic. But to me, it's just sort of like stock '70s B grade rock. Witch's Moon, I guess, is if I had to choose a standout, that would be it. But it's just nothing really to write home about. I don't know. I mean, the band they're great. They're great musicians. They play great music, but Solid Silver was just, like a C. If you had to give it a report card grade, not, not bad, but not really anything you would, say, hey, listen to this. So moving on, we're going to go to Coming Through. Now, this album, I believe this one was released right before Solid Silver. I'd have to go back and look, but it's an okay album. It does have some pretty groovy, upbeat little songs. I like Chicken. I like Don't Lose It. They're okay. My favorite song off this album is California State. It's such a it takes me back to the Quicksilver Messenger Service of old. I really like it. It's a good rocking song, but this album just don't have enough fire for me as far as it's concerned to merit any higher ranking than what it is Coming Through. Next is Just for Love. This is a decent enough album. The only gripe that I have with the mid-range Quicksilver albums, the albums that were released, sort of in the middle of their run, was they had this kind of tinny production. It sounded like they recorded it in a tin can. It's just very weird. I don't know who was producing these albums, but it just didn't. They don't have a kick to them at all. So, but again, it's a decent enough album. The tinny production just throws it off for me. The best song off this album was the hit Fresh Air. I absolutely love this song. And for some reason, I I don't feel like it suffers from the bad production, although it just might, it could just be me thinking, oh yeah, I've heard that song before I heard the album. So when I heard the album, all the bad production just didn't seem to rub off on this one, but it's probably produced the same way because it's off the same album. But anyways, Fresh Air is a great song. Cobra is pretty good, and they got these little ditties called Wolf Run and Wolf Run 1, Wolf Run 2. They're okay. They kind of take you back to the Quicksilver psychedelic stuff of the 60s, but it's okay. Just for love. Next is going to be Quicksilver. Um, Production's okay on this one. Again, it's one of those albums that's solid. I can listen to it. I don't hardly ever listen to anything off Just for Love except for maybe Fresh Air. But again, this one's good. It's not it's not going to blow you away, or anything like that, like some of the other albums that I've listened to from Quicksilver. But it's okay. Play My Guitar is a great song. Rebel, The Truth. These are great tracks off this album. Quicksilver. Okay, moving on is going to be What About Me? This is a good album. Again, production, don't too much care for the production. But, the guys are very freewheeling here, very laid back road trip kind of stuff. They mix a lot of like traditional music with blues, rock type stuff. I really like that. This is very swinging, blues rock type stuff. Little country rock in there. I mean, these guys are multi-instrumentalists, so I mean, it's not just guitar and bass and drums. I mean, they got the piano, they got the flute, all these instruments in there. And a lot of their albums, even from Just to Love, Quicksilver, and even What About Me, sound a little like Jefferson Airplane in some songs. But yeah, this one's a good one. Better songs, the standout tracks to me are What About Me. I absolutely love this one. I even love the edited version of the song. Local Colors, Call on Me. I like most songs off this album, and that's why it ranks number 4. Coming in at number 3. This is going to complete the top album trilogy of Quicksilver for me. Shady Grove. Shady Grove, the song is actually a traditional American traditional song, and so they took it and rocked it up, kind of like they would do later with Bo Diddley's stuff in an album that I'll mention. They just turned it into their own thing, and it worked. It sounded really good. You know how Van Halen would take like some covers of old tunes and just Eddie Van Halen would make it his own thing. That's kind of what Quicksilver would do. So Shady Grove was the opening track. It's the title track. It's wonderful adaptation of that song. Flute song is great. Edward Mad Shirt Grinder, great. I like pretty much every song off this album. Those are the top 3 standouts to me. But yeah, Shady Grove is a very solid Quicksilver album. Very recommended. And it's number 3. Coming in at number 2, this one was tough. It goes back and forth between number 2 and number 1, but today it's number 2, and that is Quicksilver Messenger Service, their debut album. I enjoy absolutely every song off this. This is where they started with that cowboy psych, and they carried it through most of their career. Again, it's very fluid. I love just the way that they come across. They're very, like I said, they're very laid back, kind of swinging, kind of down home music, but they got these trippy instrumentals. They got some grinding hard rock, blues rock, just everything that you could throw, out there. This band does it. I love Dino's song. What a killer track. But I mean, every song off this album, I could go down the line and name them, but it's just like, why? Because I enjoy every song off this track. I can put this album on, listen to the whole album, no problem. Quicksilver Messenger Service debut album number 2. So that leaves number 1, my favorite Quicksilver Messenger Service album of all time, Happy Trails. Now, this one really does kick it on the Western cowboy psych. I mean, this is even got a cowboy on the front of the album. So, this is a masterpiece to me. It's a live or half live. I don't know if it's all the songs are live, but it's considered a studio album, but it's also considered a live album, kind of like Ummagumma from Pink Floyd. But you've got this suite, I guess, where they've taken this Bo Diddley song, Who Do You Love? And then you got How Do You Love? When Do You Love? Things of that nature. But they make a suite out of it. And it breaks down into this bluesy rock, psychedelic, just really bizarre, but cool, just really rock in some places, very subdued in some places. Everything, just what a tremendous suite on this album. But my favorite song off this album is an instrumental, actually. Quicksilver was so good at delivering these instrumentals. Like you had Gold and Silver from their debut album, Cavalry off this album, but my favorite one was Maiden of the Cancer Moon. That is my absolute favorite Quicksilver Messenger Service song of all time, and it is an instrumental. So, again, every song off this album is just wonderful. I love it. Happy Trails, number 1. So that is my Quicksilver Messenger Service album rankings. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Give me your comments on this. Next in line, I will be ranking the albums of Judas Priest, or I will be giving you my top favorite albums from the year 1980. So, haven't decided what I want to do yet. I might go ahead and just do the album review with Priest, but since I'd already got the Iron Maiden one done, so. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you again for supporting this channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And until next time, you guys take care.